Traveling first class is about as good as it gets when it comes to commercial aviation. We've seen private suites, gourmet dining, and even onboard showers. In this video, I'm exploring some of the world's best first class airline seats and sharing tips on how you might fly some of them without paying the 5-figure fares. For example, what point schemes you can use or where you can start the journey to pay a fraction of the price. So in no particular order, let's start with Lufthansa's brand new Allegris first class. Launched in 2004 on select Airbus A350-900s, this redefines German luxury in the skies. There are only 3 suites per aircraft in a 1-1-1 layout, making it extremely exclusive. Each suite features floor-to-ceiling walls with a locking door and a massive 27-inch entertainment screen, and even heated or cooled leather seats. What kind of personalized comfort is that? I don't even have that in my car. The 2 center suites can combine into a suite plus double cabin, allowing a couple to share a private bedroom in the skies. This is surely inspired by Qatar's Q Suite. It features a large dining table, personal wardrobe, and Michelin tier meals on demand, of course complemented by caviar and fine wines. And on the ground, first class passengers get access to Lufthansa's famous first class terminal in Frankfurt, arriving at your plane via private Porsche transfer if departing from Germany. First class this fancy usually costs thousands. A round trip can be over £7,000, but there are a few angles for the savvy traveler to get it for a lot less. Lufthansa is part of Star Alliance, so if you're not earning points directly with them, you can use partner airlines like Air Canada or Singapore Airlines to book these suites with points. Singapore Airlines KrisFlyer points, for example, can be earned through HSBC, Amex Gold and Platinum, and other schemes. And Air Canada, you can earn Aeroplan by transferring from Marriott Bonvoy. This is totally achievable for the average points collector, and it is high up my list of first class seats that I would like to try. Next up, we have Air France. For me, it's great to see an airline so close to where I call home at the top of this list. Air France La Première is the epitome of French elegance and exclusivity in the air, with just 4 suites in total on each 777-300ER. It's literally just one row of a 1-2-1. It's one of the rarest first class tickets out there. Each La Première suite is like a private mini apartment in the sky. Thick floor to ceiling curtains, yes curtains, can be drawn around your whole seat. Great privacy. Air France really said sliding doors feel too impersonal, and I'm not mad at it. The seat itself is reportedly wide and very comfortable, converting into a bed with an ultra plush mattress, duvet, and even bespoke pajamas. What are we talking about here? Expect gourmet dining, showcasing French cuisine and fine wines. Yes, champagne of course, and maybe even foie gras or caviar service. But what really sets La Première apart is the ground service and experience. At Paris's Charles de Gaulle Airport, La Première guests get a private lounge that is more like a 5-star hotel, including fine dining, a spa, and whatever else you can imagine would be in a 5-star hotel in an airport. When it's time to board, you are chauffeured across the tarmac in a BMW 7 Series right to the aircraft. In short, it's mad. Many critics call Air France's La Première the most exclusive first class in the world on average. But what do you think? And have you flown it? Let me know. Now here's the bad-ish news. La Première is notoriously difficult to try and fly without paying an arm and a leg. A typical one-way ticket can easily run 5,000 to 10,000 euros. Air France tightly controls access, but there are a few avenues. The first of which being Flying Blue Miles, which is Air France's miles scheme. Air France only lets you redeem miles for La Première if you're a Flying Blue member, but not just that, an elite member, and you have to be gold or platinum. You can't just be a run-of-the-mill member. However, if you have such status or can match to such status, and you have an excess of points, I'm talking over 200,000, plus the taxes that are also involved, you might just get to sample the most luxurious first class in the world. Now, it is a crazy amount of points, but if you have a mass of Amex membership reward points, for example, that you're willing to transfer, and elite status, that is one way in. Without status, you cannot book La Première with partner miles, not via Virgin, not via Delta. This is one case where points just don't do enough of the talking. Another strategy that people use is to book with points or cash for a business class seat and then upgrade with cash. Still will set you back thousands, but maybe not as many thousands as if you just went on Skyscanner and said 10k sounds alright. And very rarely, Air France has run flash sales on La Première seats. In one famous instance, a mistake fare allowed savvy travellers to book Algiers to New York via Paris in La Première for about £400 one way. That is an absolutely insane deal. I've probably paid more than that for one way to New York in economy. It's not surprising to me that it's so difficult to fly. Why wouldn't it be when it's quoted as one of the most luxurious? It's meant to be exclusive, but I don't think it's impossible. Now let's talk about a very unsurprising and very well-known first class seat. If you can even call this a seat, Singapore Airlines first class. This is where we start seeing seats that can compete with the size of a Manhattan apartment. If any first class can rival Air France for pure opulence, it's Singapore Airlines. This airline has long been known for pioneering luxury. They introduced the concept of a fully enclosed suite back in 2007, but the latest A380 suites are wild. There are only 6 suites on the A380 upper deck, each with a floor-to-ceiling sliding door and floor-to-ceiling wall. Inside, you don't just have a seat, you have a separate swivel armchair and full-length bed. This bed folds down from the wall, and I know you think you misheard me, but you did not. So you can choose whether to kick back in your incredible leather chair or move to a proper bed. No need to convert one to the other like in most seats in the skies. You have the choice. And if you're traveling with a companion, the wall between the 2 middle suites can be lowered to create a double bed in the sky. And when I say double bed, it's not double bed 2 seats that have been lied down and converted into a bed. It is a standard size double bed. We joke about hotel rooms in the sky, but this is literally a hotel room in the sky. With 2 TVs, if you're sharing. Expect lavish touches, a personal wardrobe, luxury amenity kits like Lalique and Dom Perignon or Krug champagne on port. I have never drunk either. I know they're expensive. Singapore Airlines onboard dining is legendary. I've spoken too many times on this channel about my 9 AM lobster thermidor, but the chef's table menu is wild. The privacy is unmatched. Flight attendants will knock before entering. That's what we're talking about here. It is an enclosed room. You have to seek permission to be seen from the outside world. For many, Singapore Suites is the world's best first class. And even more excitingly, it's one of the most straightforward things to book in this entire video. The best way is to use Singapore KrisFlyer miles. Once again, there are plenty of transfer partners here, Amex, HSBC and Marriott to name a few. For a one-way from London to Singapore, you're looking at about 125,000 KrisFlyer miles, if of course you can find availability. As I mentioned, there are 6, even less if people are sharing. Singapore often releases more reward seats to its own members. In fact, for the vast majority of cases, Star Alliance partners can't get access. But that's not the only way to fly this seat. I keep saying seat, but like, I'm underselling it. One hack is to book shorter routes that feature the A380. For example, Singapore Airlines sometimes runs the suites on routes to Delhi or Mumbai. These medium haul flights have much lower reward pricing and much lower cash pricing. In fact, you can experience the suites for just 58,000 KrisFlyer miles one way, plus maybe £25 in tax, flying from Singapore to Delhi, Delhi to Singapore. Relatively speaking, this is a steal. A return economy seat with British Airways to New York, off the top of my head, is somewhere between 60 and 65,000 avios and about 100 or 150 pounds. Which would you rather? These medium haul flights are around 6 hours, which is more than enough time to enjoy a meal and even nap in your suite. And sometimes, just sometimes, you can get an incredible deal by starting your route in a different city. For example, Jakarta to Singapore to London has been reported to have a round trip price of around £3,000, which is still a lot of money, but much more attainable than the tens of thousands that you would actually pay for the seat starting normally. And it's a pretty long journey. But if you start the journey somewhere else, you forego the on-the-ground experience at the best airport in the world. You get access to a private room with Singapore Airlines in their exclusive first-class lounge. It's a lounge within a lounge. Overall, sounds like an incredible experience. And the only seat that even rivals Singapore Airlines for space is, of course, Etihad's The Residence. Now we're entering unicorn territory. Quite simply, this is beyond first class. Available only on Etihad's Airbus A380s, The Residence is a 3-room private suite at the very front of the plane. Once again, I did not stutter. There are 3 rooms. You get a living room with a spacious leather double-seat sofa, big TV and dining room, a separate bedroom with a double bed, and your own private bathroom with a shower. There's hostels around the world, many hostels that don't even have a private shower. How can I get one on a plane? 2 people can fly together in The Residence, and it comes with a dedicated butler trained at the Savoy Hotel and a private chef if you want custom meals. This is as close as it comes to having your own private jet section on a commercial flight. The service is completely bespoke. Pre-flight concierge, chauffeured luxury car transfers, private lounge areas, the works. Flying The Residence from, say, Abu Dhabi to New York or to London is an experience that few will ever forget or be able to afford. I'm gonna keep it 100. Cheap and The Residence don't really go together. This product regularly sells for between £10,000 and £20,000 one way on long routes. But I'm an optimist, and there's always a way. So let's talk about it. Can you redeem miles for The Residence? Well, technically, Etihad Guest, the Etihad frequent flyer program, had a price for it. It used to be something obscene like 2 million miles for a one-way ticket. But now, practically no mainstream points partner allows booking The Residence through their scheme. Your best bet is to book first class, cash, or maybe points, and upgrade using points to get The Residence where available. You could also use American Airlines Advantage Miles to book Etihad's first apartment, which is the normal first class that they have on the A380. This itself is amazing and can be had for around 115,000 points, but then you still have to use more points or cash to upgrade. This is by far the steepest when it comes to affordability, and not surprising given the size of the room. There used to be shorter 3-hour routes, for example, that you could use to fly The Residence. Those have since been deprecated, so for most of us, The Residence is a dream that we will only ever see on YouTube. But if you ever win the lottery or inherit a huge amount of miles, this is the ultimate way to fly. For everyone else, consider Etihad's regular first class, which is something like 62,000 points between London and Abu Dhabi. Because why wouldn't regular first class be enough? Oh, I know, it's because they've shown us a 3-room suite. I just wanted to say 3-room suite again. And finally, no list of luxury air travel is complete without Emirates. The airline that made flying glamorous again, the one that raised the bar and everyone else had to respond. Emirates actually has 2 notable first class products. The old first class found on A380s, and then the new game changer first class on a few 777s, which takes it to a whole nother level. Emirates A380 first class, the one that you've probably heard about, which is private suites with sliding doors, gold tone and wood finishes, endless caviar, Dom Perignon, and of course the only shower spa on a commercial airline. Not just one, but 2 of them at the front of the A380 for its first class passengers. The A380 also features an onboard lounge, which is a bar at the back of the upper deck where first class and business class folk can mingle, sip cocktails, talk about their richness, and pretend they're flying in a 5-star hotel. Emirates First has all the over-the-top perks you would expect. They serve you dine on demand. You can get food whenever you want. There's no, it's mealtime, it's I'm hungry. I need the food now. We took off 20 minutes ago, I don't care. Multi-course meals, luxury amenity kits, moisturizing pajamas, Bulgari products, and even zero-gravity reclining seats on newer jets. What does that mean? I have no idea, so I'll put a definition on the screen. Then there's the game changer. In late 2017, Emirates revealed a new 111 layout first class on some Boeing 777-300ERs with only 6 suites. These are fully enclosed floor-to-ceiling suites, essentially small rooms. If you get a middle suite with no windows, it doesn't matter. They installed virtual windows that project a live feed from outside of the aircraft. I would be devastated to pay that amount of money and not have windows, but people report that you can't tell the difference. How mad? The resolution is extremely high. I'll believe it when I see it. The design is sleek, as it should be. It's inspired by Mercedes-Benz. And each suite even has a video call function so that you can call the cabin crew without them having to knock. The rooms have temperature control, lighting control. In your suite, you get binoculars to gaze out of the window. And there's a fully stocked minibar. The TV is huge, and honestly speaking, it's probably the most private first class in the sky after Etihad's the residence. And maybe Singapore, of course. Showering at 40,000 feet, top shelf drinks, and a chauffeur-driven service on both ends for first class passengers. This is the lit life, the life we talk about. And thankfully, it is the totally attainable life that you deserve. Because Emirates has such a big fleet and because they have their own reward scheme that transfers from a lot of partners, there is a decent amount of reward availability, especially from the UK. But even globally speaking, you can earn Emirates Skyward miles through flying with them. You can earn through many cards that are available on most markets. You can buy points, and often they have sales where you get extra points and bonuses for buying those miles. A one-way first class award seat from London to Dubai is 85,000 Sky Reward miles. The Amex Platinum gives 100,000 miles right now as a sign-up bonus in the UK as of the time of recording. It is January 6th. That ends in a week. If you've been thinking about the card, now is the time. Link in the description. Safe. Longer flights like London to Sydney with a connection, of course, would be more points, like 170,000 Skyward miles. And the cash surcharges used to be high, but in what is a revolutionary move, they came down. Used to be like over £500, now between £100 and £200. I have never heard of taxes getting cheaper for redemption flights. If you don't have Skyward miles, you can convert from many programs into them, and you can also use Qantas frequent flyer points on Emirates if you have them as well. Putting it bluntly, this is one of the easiest first class seats to access in the skies. Emirates also operates some Fifth Freedom routes, which are routes that go between two completely separate countries that are not the UAE. So for example, in a couple of days, I'm flying from Mexico City to Barcelona. The flight then continues on to Dubai, but I don't have to go to Dubai. I can just do the Mexico City to Barcelona. Milan to New York is another example, but there are many. These are often shorter segments where you can sample the first class service without going via Dubai. In the past, one of the shortest routes was Dubai to Kuwait. It's like 90 minutes, which had first class on it. Prices were lower, it was attainable, but availability of the new suite is rarer, admittedly. And then of course, occasionally Emirates has sales. A few years ago, a round trip first class seat from London to Dubai was around £3,000. £3,000 is a lot of money, but we've gone past economy, premium economy, and business to get there. And £3,000 is half the cost of the usual £6,000. Look out for sales. Emirates also has a feature where you can bid for an upgrade. If you have a ticket in another cabin, you can be upgraded for less than you would have paid outright. And then of course you can upgrade with miles. Upgrading from business to first class with miles, London to Dubai is about 39,000 miles. Emirates is throwing opportunities to fly first class at all of us. So who are we to ignore them? Now, I could stop there, but I'm not quite done. See, there's a few next generation first class products on the horizon or newly launched that you should have on your radar for 2026. First, Cathay Pacific Halo Suites, an ultra luxe first class for Cathay's future Boeing 777-9 fleet, reported to be called the Halo Suites. Rumor has it there will only be 4 suites in a single aisle layout with innovations like possible double beds or even a bunk bed concept. Imagine that. Perfect for families. I feel like a lot of these seats don't target families. It's all about the business traveler. Given Cathay's excellence, this could become one of the best in the world when it debuts, likely this year, and will be very easy to book through One World partners. Next up, ANA just can't get enough of this luxury market. They already have one of the best seats in the skies, but they're not stopping there. They're looking at introducing the Room FX, a next-gen business class for all their 787-9s. It's basically a slightly smaller version of the Room to fit a slightly smaller aircraft, but still with privacy doors and an even more advanced design. While not first class, it will likely rival many first class seats, meaning more chances to fly insane comfort for business class prices. And Australia's Qantas is launching 18 to 20 hour non-stop flights from Sydney to London and New York with Project Sunrise on the A350-1000, probably my favourite aircraft in existence right now. And to keep passengers sane, which would be needed on such a long flight, they've designed a cutting-edge first-class suite. Each A350 will have just 6 first suites in a 1-1-1 layout. What's cool is that they opted for a separate seat and bed in each suite, much like Singapore Airlines suites and Etihad the Residence. The seat is 22 inches wide and has a 2-meter long bed ready to go. There's also a big dining table for 2, lots of storage, even the ability to adjust the temperature and humidity in your suite. All those dry throats that you get after flying, maybe they're looking to eliminate that. Wouldn't that be a dream? Definitely worth considering if you have a mountain of Avios to burn, since Qantas is in one world. Switzerland's Swiss Airlines is also overhauling its first class on the new A350s with the first Grand Suite, its flagship new first seat. Basically, if you're traveling with someone, 2 adjacent first class suites can be combined into one huge space. They even open up the aisle partition, creating a luxury loft, spreading the entire width of the plane. And even the regular single suites will be super private with closing doors, big screens, and that impeccable Swiss design. If you have Amex points, you could convert into Aeroplan or Life Miles to snag this, or use Lufthansa's Miles or More. And finally, JAL has introduced a brand new first class on its A350-1000s, now flying between Tokyo and New York, and soon other routes. It features only 6 suites, 1-1-1, 2 rows, extremely spacious, about 4 feet wide and 83 inches long. What's that, 7 feet? That is when in bed mode. They have sliding doors, though not full ceiling height, about 5'2", which are for privacy, and a very elegant design with burgundy leather and wood tones, kind of like a luxury train cabin. 43-inch 4K screens. Why are the screens on this plane the same size as the screens of the TVs in my house? I have questions. Personal wardrobes, this seems to be becoming a bit of a theme, and I'm not mad at it. And even the option to pair the center suites for couples. Now, I feel like that's becoming an industry standard when it comes to these suites. And once again, JAL is in one world, so very easy redemptions from Japan Airlines. If you'd like to see me redo this video with business class flights, which are of course a lot more attainable, please hit the like button and drop a comment to let me know that you enjoyed this one. If you're not already subscribed, you know what to do. Appreciate you watching to the end. I'm Jordan, this is Miles Ahead. Safe.